Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Footy Fan Zone, the true place to talk to the fans of the beautiful game. My name is Kieran Gooding, back here at hosting duties. Many thanks to Gary, who deserves a well-earned break. But he's engineering the show, so he is behind the scenes here. So thank you very much to him for all his cooperation. But of course, he did a fantastic job last week. But I'm back in the hot seat for episode 5 of the Footy Fan Zone, joined once again by the main man, Elliot Davis Trundle. Elliot, great to have you back on, mate.
Yeah, obviously I've missed a few weeks, but it's good to be back, and I'm going to be back every week.
Oh, that's a commitment now. We need to clip that up as like a type of contract. We've got a lot to get into today, but first of all, how are you, mate? How are you, mate? Just generally in yourself, a bit of an up and down weekend for yourself. Have you recovered, or are you ready to talk about this again?
Mate, I don't think I can recover that quickly, to be honest. It's been a horrible few weeks, isn't it, for Arsenal? But it's fine. We'll move on to next season.
Absolutely, that is going to be a topic of conversation today. So I'm just pre-warning you, and pre-warning any Arsenal fans that are listening in here today. But if you are listening, guys, please do drop in any comments throughout the live stream. We'll be getting to your questions, your opinions. We definitely want you guys to be a part of it. But if you are listening after the facts, make sure you like, subscribe, so you don't miss any of these live streams. We do the live weekly shows, and then we do the live watch alongs as well, which are coming this week. A big game this week for our weekly live watch along, the West Ham AZ Alsmar game that's on Thursday. That's the game that we will be covering this week. But let's get into last week's fixtures and results here. Starting off with Saturday's games, as you can see there. Thank you very much to BBC Sport for cooperating with this. And giving us the opportunity to use their fantastic website. So, Southampton's relegation was confirmed with a 2-0 defeat at Fulham. Manchester United edging ever closer to a Champions League spot, putting them a little bit of space for the time being between them and Liverpool with a 2-0 victory over Wolves. Roy Hodgson's fly-high youngsters, Crystal Palace, picked up a 2-0 victory against Bournemouth. A stunning strike from Eze was definitely the highlight of that game. Chelsea, with some very poor defending, dropped yet more points under Frank Lampard with a 2-2 draw against Forest, who's had one of the worst away records this season. Aston Villa edges ever closer to their European hopes with a 2-1 victory over struggling Spurs. And Leeds United are fighting once more as Newcastle drop even more points away from home with a 2-2 draw against Leeds. Let's move on. Let's move in first and foremost to Southampton's departure from the Premier League. 11 years in the top flight. The amount of players that they've got rid of is absolutely unbelievable. They could fill a whole squad of players that they've got rid of. Is it time for Southampton to go? You see a lot of teams dropping down back into the Championship where almost they've sort of run out of steam, run out of momentum. Was it Southampton's time to go?
Yeah, I think from the start you could tell they were not staying up, because I can't remember who said it the other day, but they said they've got a team of kids plus Ward-Prowse and who's the other dude they said? And Walcott.
Yeah.
Ward-Prowse and Walcott, and the rest are full of kids. No experience in that team at all. And yeah, they were never staying up this year.
Well, they've got the youngest squad in the Premier League. Obviously, Arsenal have got the second youngest, but yeah, so many youngsters involved in that squad. They've had 3 managers throughout the course of this season. Ralph Hasenhüttl's shot departure, then Nathan Jones leaving for a short time. Do you think the change of managers contributed? We obviously said that they have got a young squad. Obviously, teams are strengthening. Southampton have not strengthened at all. Do you think it's down to maybe them factors, or do you think it's the having 3 different managers? In and out could really, really change a lot of things and lose momentum.
Yeah, because obviously, if you stick with a manager, it takes time to learn how they play, because they play different styles and what they want from players and stuff like that. But as soon as you got to Hasenhüttl and then to Nathan Jones, had to start fresh. And then I think it was after 8 games, Nathan Jones went.
Yeah, 8 games.
correct? And then they had to start that process again. And then if you go about signings, January was their chance to bring in some real experience, Premier League experience, and think, right, you know what? We'll bring in these players, even if it's to the end of the season, just to make sure we stay up. But they didn't do that. They made signings that were not experienced at all. Yes, players like Orsic and Sulemana and Onuachu are good players, but they haven't performed in the big leagues,
No.
and that's cost them.
Most definitely. Let's move on to Chelsea, who dropped even more points under Frank Lampard, a 2-2 draw at home to Nottingham Forest. Forest obviously pushing. They've been getting some really, really good results as of late. I do think now Forest are safe. I think they're the latest team to sort of, ensure they're safe. I think has dropped down now between Leeds, Everton, and Leicester, and obviously 2 out of the 3 teams will join Southampton in the Championship next season. But it's difficult because I think Forest played well. I think they were looking not to get all 3 points, but it's the name of the game when you're talking about Chelsea. Once again, more points dropped. They definitely did not look like they were going to win the game. Do you think Chelsea now are just riding until the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think they know they're not going to get Europe. They do know they're going to finish mid-table. So I think for now they're just trying to. I think it's the point where they try and bring in new players and try different systems and see what works and stuff like that. And with the appointment of Pochettino, I think pre-season will definitely be crunch time for them because they'll spend more money again, and then players have been there for a year now, most of them. So,
Yeah.
and the money they've spent, they need to start getting results.
Well, one of their signings that they've obviously made is Raheem Sterling. Got both of the goals against Forest. A lot of people are saying that the every single Chelsea player is either you're staying or you're going. They've got to make some massive decisions with the squad. The size of their squad is absolutely incredible. Do you think Sterling is one of them to stay? I know there's been a lot of people speculating that. I mean, when you're in the headlines for scoring 2 against Forest, you are going to move, ever closer to staying at the club. Do you think that's right for Sterling and Chelsea?
Yeah, look, we all know how good Sterling is. I don't have to tell you how good he is because we've seen it for donkey's years at sea. But I think Chelsea need a player like him in that squad because he's got a lot of experience. He can pop up in big games. He's been there. He's done that. He knows what to do for the team. And yeah, I think even though it hasn't been his best season, I still think he's a crucial player to have in the squad.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's move on to Leeds Newcastle then, because you can speak about both of these teams, how well they've done this season for Newcastle, how poorly they've done for Leeds. Let's move in first of all to Newcastle. I've got the table up here just to the side of me. Liverpool now currently sit on 65 points following that victory against Leicester. We'll speak about a little bit later on in the show. But Man United and Newcastle are level on points with 66. Newcastle have had some pretty scary results as of late. I do think they're going to get in the Champions League. But is it the case now of, Newcastle got to be really, really careful with dropping any more points. They can't have any more scares. And I think Leeds was a big scare. They could have lost that game with, Leeds missing the penalty, Patrick Bamford. So Newcastle, I think that they're okay, but I think there's that slight apprehension, I think, especially with the previous results. Villa comes to mind, and this one now as well.
Yeah, I think it's got to the end of the point where the Newcastle players are burning out because obviously they haven't got the greatest squad depth. So you've got players playing week in, week out, and that does affect how you play. Because as soon as your players get burnt out, you start losing form. But yeah, they've really got to be careful because you've got Man United creeping up on them, Liverpool now creeping up.
Yep.
They've got to got to start winning games again.
Well, even Brighton. I mean, they've still got to play. Newcastle have got a game in hand on Liverpool, and Man United have got a game in hand against Liverpool, but Brighton have got two. And I know we're going to speak about Brighton, unfortunately for you, a little bit later on, but you know, it could very well possibly be that Newcastle could slip. They just need, like you said, they need to make relevant changes and important changes. Moving on, moving over to Leeds, though, everybody said that they're going to pick up no points in this run-in. They lost to Manchester City 2-1, which, I mean, a lot of people would have took a 2-1 defeat to Manchester City, especially with the goals that they've leaked against Liverpool, Palace, Bournemouth. And then obviously they've drawn against Newcastle. They've got West Ham coming up on Sunday. And then the last game of the season, they've got Spurs. Is it a late surge for Leeds? You just don't know. Like I said, 2 out of the 3 will go down. I think Leicester's gone now. And I do think it is between, in a lot of ways, Leicester and Everton. Do Leeds have a strong feel, obviously, with Big Sam as well coming back? I can't believe, by the way, he refers to himself as Big Sam. I watched the interview and he refers to himself as, I am Big Sam. Like, that's just ridiculous. I might change. We might have to start calling ourselves Big Kieran and Elliot. Well,
Yeah, let's not do that.
Little for me. But do you think my question overall? Do you think that Leeds are going to have a bit of a late push and potentially stay in the Premier League?
It could happen, but do I think it'll happen? No. I reckon it'll be them joining Southampton, and I reckon Leicester will go down with them. But I think Everton will just pip them staying up.
Fair enough. Let's move on then to Sunday's games. Brentford picking up a 2-0 victory over West Ham, with many West Ham fans saying, including Gary, saying that there's one eye on the Conference League semi-final on Thursday and ensuring, obviously, safety now. So should be okay with that one. Manchester City once again picking up a victory, now 4 points ahead of Arsenal and still have a game in hand. Fantastic duo from Haaland, and then Gundogan's goal was just sensational, how he controlled that on his thigh. And then Arsenal versus Brighton, 3-0 winners for Brighton, sinking Arsenal even further in this title race. Can we start with that game and just get your general thoughts and not direct a specific question to you? Is that all right? We just generally share your thoughts as an Arsenal fan.
I mean, from start to finish, we were poor. We didn't look like we was going to score. In the transition, they had us every time. Counter-attack on counter-attack on counter-attack. Mitoma was a very big problem that game. He turned Ben White inside out.
He did indeed.
And at the end, I think it was seeing that Man City 3-0 winning against Everton. That deflated them. Yeah. I reckon they knew that it could be up. Sorry.
No, it is concerning, I would say. The fact that, Arsenal losing to Brighton, especially with the momentum and the way that they've been playing. I think it was the Southampton draw that did it. And I remember watching the game with you off camera and stuff like that, and you could just see how Arsenal were deflated. You could see, and I think that was the game that lost them the title. In so many ways, especially with that. Credit to Brighton for the victory. Absolutely phenomenal. And to go to the Emirates and pick up a 3-0 win is no hard feat with any Arsenal team that are put out there. But I think it was the Southampton game that lost it. The Man City game, it was like men versus boys. And it really, really did, cause a massive sort of rupture. They picked up a 2-0 victory against Newcastle, which definitely steered them in the right direction. But you got to be winning games against Brighton. That is the most important thing. So, but then on the other side, Man City played first and they would beat 3-0 against Everton. Do you think that Arsenal should have, that would be, momentum? That would be a reason in many ways, to to win because you're seeing your title rivals, do really, really well. Do you think that is the most important thing in terms of, looking at your other team and going, you know what, that's what we need to do. We need to replicate that.
I think it depends on the situation because obviously when you see they win, then obviously you need to match it and you want to be them. Like you want to be as good as them.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time you look at it and they think this Man City team ain't going to lose.
Yeah.
So I think it can go both ways. I think they were up for it, and then when we conceded the first, they was like, no, it's done.
Yeah, definitely. And then the Monday game sees Leicester lose 3-0 to Liverpool. I wanted Leicester to win, I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch the game. I had other commitments, but I don't like watching the Liverpool-Leicester games anyway. But many members of my family are Leicester fans, and it's just hard. It's hard when you see Liverpool score and you can't really celebrate in front of them, especially the fact that I'm on my own celebrating as well. It does confirm Leicester's departure. We can say that, and we've got a bit of a segment later on coming up next, actually, about Leicester and obviously the way that they're looking like they are going to go down. But let's talk about Liverpool because they've had a massive push over the last few games. They really have been playing well. They've won all of their last 5 Premier League games. Is Champions League a possibility, or do you think Europa League could potentially, in many ways, is the best thing for the club to probably build up? They are going to be, massive favourites to win the competition. Do you think it's right that Liverpool do miss out on Champions League football this season and then go again?
No, I think a team like Liverpool, if you can get into the Champions League, you will take that every day.
Oh God, yeah.
Is it going to be the end of the world if they're in Europa League? No. But there's still that push for the Champions League. They're still in the race. But they need to get in there.
I've read a lot of things online saying that, but if we don't get in Champions League, we're not going to attract the big players we need for this rebuild. Liverpool, in my opinion, have done all they can about looking at players from our other leagues, other European leagues, and saying, come to us and you're going to be big. Liverpool needed to buy big players when they were battling for league titles in Man City. They needed to buy the world-class players then when you've got the attractability. They've lost that now. And honestly, you need to have a look at a bit of Premier League talent. Liverpool don't buy a lot of players from the Premier League. They just don't. They never have. And, it's not a bad thing. But then when you're looking at certain players who are coming in and going, well, they're not Premier League proven. Yeah, but that's what we need. I'm obviously midfield is the key area. We're looking like we're going to get McAllister. Apparently, Mason Mount has had a really big, shift and stuff like that. Them two are both Premier League proven players. I thought McAllister played fantastic against Arsenal at the weekend. Mount has played at the top level, and I think the culture around Liverpool is far better than it ever will be at Chelsea. And I think that will help. The only thing is with Chelsea is that if Pochettino comes in and instantly says, Mount, I want you. I want you in the squad. The London thing, obviously, the history with him being at the club, you are going to think to yourself, yeah, he'll stay. But I think Liverpool need to have a look at this Premier League proven talent, look at the players that they can build. I don't think Europa League will be that bad. Look at the way in that season when we lost Van Dijk, we just got top 4. And that was great. That was fantastic. But then also you do think how badly would it be if we did drop down to the Europa League, playing that, and then we're going to push on. We're going to have to strengthen that. There's no doubt about that. But I do think it will do. I think it will do good. Whether we'll lose players is the other concern. But I do think that Liverpool could have a really good go in the Europa League. I really do. So we're going to get into the Premier League fixtures upcoming. We're going to do the predicted results later. But we are going to speak about Leicester because there have been some very concerning issues around Leicester for the whole season. They currently sit in 19th on 30 points. They are looking like they are going to go down. However, a lot of things outside of the club have been addressed. So if we could just get up this graphic here, which this is going to be a situation where they are going to lose a lot of players, and that is there's no doubt about that. And as Gary is going to get up the graphic in just a moment, here we go. But we've got obviously 3 main players there, but there is a Sun article that's come out. Gary, if you don't mind getting that, mate, that'd be great if you could. There's a news article from the Sun basically saying that Leicester could lose 200 million worth of transfer signings and 8 possible players. Now, what me and Ellie are going to do? I know my association with Leicester as a club is far more than Elliot's will be, but we are going to basically say whether they think will go or they think they'll stay, because I think Elliot, confirm or deny what you think about this as Gary's looking for it. Do you think that when teams do look like they are going to go down, and they might not, but do you think that there are certain players where you think when teams do get relegated, where you think they've got to stay in the Premier League, let's pick them up?
Yeah. There's always going to be at least 1 or 2 players per team that will go back to the Prem. Always.
Well, let's have a look at this. And thank you very much, by the way, to Tony Robertson of The Sun. This is dedicated to him. We don't know the gentleman. We've just used this off of the website, off the Sun website. So thank you very much for writing this article. We're going to be using this article as relevant and the sources regarding it. As it says that 8 Leicester stars that could be lost in summer transfers as club face losing 200 million of talent if relegated. It's so much money. Let's scroll down to the 8 players that Mr. Robertson has addressed, which I'm sure is massive. And there it is. Mr. James Maddison. Do you think James Maddison will stay at Leicester? Do you think he'll leave Leicester? And what club do you think he'll go to? You can do European clubs as well as Premier League if you like. I'll open that up for you.
This is the easiest one on the whole list. Yeah. He's obviously going to leave, isn't he?
Yeah.
And you've got players like You've got teams like Man United, Newcastle, Spurs hovering around. Who do I think he'll join?
If we could just have one, that'd be great.
Thanks for that. I'm putting my money on Newcastle, I think.
Really? I'd say Spurs. Also
a good shout. Oh, you know what I'm like with transfers. I know everyone who's linked with everyone, mate.
Oh, yes, you do. Yeah, you've got your sources. Fabrizio Romano, people know who that is. Elliot's the second in command to that. Yeah, I think he'll go Spurs need him more than Newcastle, I think, personally. They've got Joe Linton, they've got Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah, I think Maddison will fit in well with Spurs, especially that game against Villa. I thought they needed an attacking midfielder. So let's have a look and see who else is on the list. Harvey Barnes there. I don't think Barnes potentially will go willingly. I think there'll be a lot of business. I don't know where he will go. Elliot, do you think he might stay or go, or what club?
Again, I think he's too good for the Championship. I reckon he'll leave. But to who? I'm not sure. Possibly either a West Ham or a Villa.
A Villa, I would say more because they got Ben Rama, haven't they? And a lot of West Ham fans like Ben Rama. So I'd probably say Villa. I think he could fit Villa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there we go. Yuri Tillemans is the next man. I think a lot of Leicester fans like Maddison. He's definitely going to be securing. He could easily walk into a side for me. I'm saying Arsenal.
Saying Arsenal?
Yeah, I think he could. I mean, you look at the way Jorginho's moved into it. Oh, why the hell have they brought him? Jorginho wouldn't play, and he's played really well, and he's come in. So yeah, I'd say Yuri Tillemans.
I mean, obviously he's going on a free. I could see him going Barcelona or something, to be honest.
Okay, first look. Yeah,
Because they're
it's a
signing a lot
money
of free
situation, though, isn't
transfers,
it?
aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's it. That's an interesting
Obviously
shout out.
losing Busquets as well.
He doesn't play like Busquets, though, does he?
I know, but it's another midfielder, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what else they've got. I don't think he's selected anymore. This looks like. Have we got any more guys? No, that's. Oh, hang on. I think there was a bit of a section up. If you scroll up. Okay, so there we go. So it says midfield partners Wilfred Ndidi and Bukhari Samaria are also likely to push for moves away from the King Power. I think Ndidi will go. I don't think Sumari will go, personally.
Yeah, I think you're right.
In terms of Ndidi, though, where I think he might go, I mean, I'm just trying to look at Premier League, and maybe if Kante doesn't become favourite, I'd probably say Chelsea. Because I don't think Man United will because of Casemiro. I don't think City will. I don't think Liverpool will. Well, maybe Liverpool actually. Yeah, I'll say Liverpool actually. That's good. I think because I think Fabinho needs a little bit of competition in there. Personally,
I'd have said like Man United or probably someone like Fulham.
Fulham really that low?
I'd chuck Fulham. Fulham are a decent side.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fullback duo Ricardo Pereira and Timothy Castagna represent a 24 million combination. By the way, 24 million for two players now, which is crazy, by the way.
Both decent players as well.
Yeah, both decent players who will likely fetch a decent price due to having contracts running until 2026 and 2025, respectively. I can't see Ricardo going anywhere, personally. And I think Castagna might. I think he'll go back to Italy. I don't think any Premier League team will have him. So I think Ricardo will stay. He's too injury prone. He's too injury prone for.
I reckon he'll go back to Porto.
Yeah, I just think he's too injury prone. So I don't think a lot of teams will go
He's
in for him.
He's too good for the Championship, though.
Yeah, and then finally, it looks like the last source. He's set to join. Let's go Madrid on a free transfer. That's Sayunchu. So I'm guessing that's sort of a done deal. That's the only one that we're not going to speculate. I feel like that's already done already.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Well, that is obviously all the rest of it. I mean, 8 players leaving a club is quite
Huge
crazy. It's quite crazy. A massive stock up. Obviously, we'll have to see. But they could stay in the Prem, and they could all stay. And that might be the most wasted segment we've ever done on the FootieFanZone. Hope you've enjoyed. Right, let's get into our next segment, which is the main man, William Saliba. Now, this has caused controversy. And then I'll say the word controversy, and then I'll say the word Gary Neville, and they actually work together quite well. Micah Richards and Gary Neville massively argue. Thank you very much to Sky Sports again for this source. And, you know, a lot of people said that a lot of people as well I've listened to on Talk Sport this morning, particularly Piers Morgan, which I can't believe his footballing opinion is, you know, massively credited in a lot of people's eyes. Politics, yeah, go on, but this is not a politics show. Piers Morgan, you're very welcome to join us if you'd like to, but good luck with that. Let's have a look at the results since Saliba's injury then. So with 4 victories, 3 draws and 2 defeats. The 2 defeats have come from Manchester City, which without Saliba, with Saliba, you could say that scoreline might not have been that high. Do I think he could have got them to potentially a draw? I'm not sure. But then obviously the defeat to Brighton, absolutely. You know, 3-1 against Chelsea, you know, I think is a great result without him there. But then you've got to look at the significant with the draws. The Liverpool 2-2, West Ham 2-2, and Southampton 3-3. I'm a little bit on the fence with this situation. And if Elliot doesn't mind, I'd like to go first with this and then see, just so he can sort of collect all his thoughts. I think he is not the reason that Arsenal have lost the title. I do think personally he is a massive loss. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans didn't understand how good he was until they lost him. That is the same way I will view it, the way that Van Dijk was injured. A lot of Liverpool fans went, it was fine. It's fine. It's, you know, we'll still be okay. It's just one player. Yeah, but it's one player that's in the spine of your team, the leader, the most important player. That's why I'm a little bit on the fence. However, I do think it's not purely down to that. You can't argue with you can't disagree and turn around and say, well, we've lost it now because of Saliba. I do think it's because of an inexperienced squad at this top level. I think it lacks experienced leaders. Odegaard's a fantastic player. My God, I can't turn around and say, but he's not a leader like Jordan Henderson is or Gundogan is, where they've got experience and they will rile up a team. He's a fantastic captain and he's good, but he's good in other ways. You need them experienced leaders on the pitch. For me personally, I think that contributes to it. And also, I think that Manchester City are that good. You look at these results here. Liverpool draw, I think a lot of people are, I look at that and think that was away at Anfield. Liverpool were pushing. And to get a draw out of that, a lot of people said that's fantastic. We got a point. We could have lost that. West Ham, you shouldn't have drew. That 2-0 up. And Southampton was abysmal. I've just said that Southampton lost. You lost the league because of the Southampton result. And them three results there, I think, were the beginning. I think Southampton was the conclusion. The way that they left the field at the Emirates on that game, they basically said we're giving up on this now. I generally do believe that. So for me, I think it's the inexperienced with leaders. I think it's the young squad, and also it's the fact that Man City, if you give a little bit of an inkling to City, they'll take it. They've got the opportunity to rotate. They've got experienced players. So I think it's potentially, like, for example, if you're going up against, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but if you go up against like a Man United team, and in this, and it was Arsenal versus Man United with these current squads, I think you would look at it and go, well, they did bottle it. But also it's against City. So I don't think they have bottled it. I think Saliba was a massive miss, is a massive factor, but I don't think it's that. People can't go, well, we've lost the league because of that. You've not lost the league because of that, in my opinion. So, Elliot, I'm going to allow you to state your case as an Arsenal fan. Looking at that graphic as well, you got the contribution, of that to support your points. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying to you for the past few weeks about what I think, haven't I?
Yes, you have. Yeah, it's been a lot of conversations. Yeah, definitely.
Main topic. But yeah, I do believe that we have lost the league because of Saliba's injury in a way. Because that game away at Anfield, we wouldn't have conceded 2. 1, not 2. Against West Ham, wouldn't have conceded 2. Southampton, wouldn't have conceded 3. I'm not saying it's Rob Holding's fault we lost the league. But
you are.
I'm not going to use him as a scapegoat. But I do think we are a lot better defensively and a lot organised than when we have Saliba at the back. And you can tell that we don't concede many goals when we got that defence of Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba.
See, why isn't enough people talking about Zinchenko then? Why are people just putting it all on Saliba? Why are they not saying, well, we've missed Zinchenko? Who's more important in that way?
I mean, Zinchenko's not missed that many games. He's played most.
Yeah.
But I don't think Zinchenko's in to really stop the goals. He's there to make them.
Yeah.
So that's why we have still been scoring goals. But I think with Saliba, I don't think we would have conceded as many goals as we have. And as far as bottling it, I don't think you can call it bottling it.
No, I wouldn't.
Because if Man City win the next 3 games, their last 3 games, they finish on 94 points. So that means to win the league, Arsenal would have had to got 95. And when do you see a team get 95 points?
No, well, it is unparalleled the amount of points that Man City and Liverpool have had over the last few years. A lot of teams, do say, well, when we hit even it to like 70, 80, that's when we won the league. Like not 90. It's crazy.
No.
Let me ask you final question on this then. The Man City result, 4-1 defeat. With Saliba, do you think that would have still been 4-1, or do you think it would have been a lot lower? Or could you have even won the game? I mean, I'm not restricting the question here. You could have won the game. I got ridiculed for my opinion, saying that Arsenal could have won that game. So, do you think with Saliba, the deficit could have been a little bit lower?
We wouldn't have conceded 4.
You'd have conceded 5.
No. And Rob Holding did score our only goal, to be fair.
I was going to say that. I was just like, that one against City, that was not Odegaard, that was not Martinelli. Like that
was Holding.
That was Rob Holding. We love you, Rob Holding. We love you, mate. Well, I do. You don't.
I love all my players, mate.
Okay, all right.
I'm just a fan of more than others.
Yeah, let's clip that back to when he said that Rob Holding lost Arsenal the league. Thank you very much. We're going to move on now because I feel like Rob Holding has had too many days. We are going to get on then to the Q&A. Q&A. We'll get to the result fixtures, upcoming fixtures in just a moment, but we have got a Q&A. So if you guys saw episode 1 of FootieFanZone, which is available now on the channel, we look very young and different haircuts. We did do 10 questions. We asked both Elliot and Gary, and just to basically share opinions, just sort of get a lot of things. Build up the guys' personalities, learn a little bit more about them. I've got 5 new questions here today involving different topics. So we are going to quickly get them in now. So Elliot, over to you, my friend. Here are the 5 questions. They're not timed, don't worry. You can think about your answers and but let's just get involved with them then. So first question here, one team you wish to go back and watch live. So it could be a team that you have seen but you want to watch again, or it could be a team before your lifetime. What would you say?
I mean, I've only been to watch England, Ipswich, and Peterborough. So
it doesn't have to be a team you've already watched. You just any team that you want to go back to and watch live. So it could be an Arsenal team that you watched on the telly or something like that. So any team.
If we're going before I was born, it obviously has to be the Invincibles.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
But if I had to go and watch a team that I've watched in, like, as in live, it'd have to be when England beat USA. I think it was 2-0. It was Rooney's last game.
Oh wow, yeah, that's fantastic. I'd probably go into like that, like 2006 to 8 England team when it was like Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Rooney, like Terry, Ferdinand, Cole. Like there was so many great players. Like that was like the golden generation. Should have won something, but there we go.
Yeah.
Biggest transfer flop of the season?
Richarlison.
Yeah, I agree. I would either say Richarlison or Anthony, but I'd probably say Richarlison because he's been there for the full season.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony's been there full year as well, I think.
Did he not come in January?
I thought he came start of the season.
Okay, fair enough.
I could be wrong. Hang on, I'm going to check this now.
Yeah, Richarlison,
August. Came in August.
August, then. 3 goals. 3 goals Richarlison scored. You can't do that. Like, you can't do that.
So, 50 million. It's easily Richarlison for me.
Most definitely. This has been an interesting question. Who has had the better season, Arsenal or Manchester United?
Arsenal.
Really?
Say they finish 4th, plus the Carabao Cup. It's good. But what Arsenal have done this year...
But they're second. They've lost the league and they've not won any cups. I'm saying Arsenal.
I mean, you can argue both
So I'm
ways.
saying Man United. I'm saying Man United.
You can argue both ways, but I think there was a debate. Who was it? I think it was Jamie Carragher. Was it Carragher? I think it was
Yes,
Carragher and Robbie from
Neville.
Arsenal Fan TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they were debating that. But I'd say Arsenal. I mean, look what we've done this year. Yes,
Oh
they've
no,
won a
it's
cup.
brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant. But I would say that because they still could get the FA Cup, if they could get they've got the Carabao Cup. They're looking like they're going to finish in the Champions League spaces. If at the end of the season they've got all three of them qualities, I would say that is better than Arsenal just finishing second. For me.
If they win the FA Cup, then yeah.
Okay, so you're basing it on that. I mean, to be honest, obviously that City could get the treble and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's one of them where it's different, interesting. No, but that's an interesting topic of conversation. I'm sure we can debate that a little bit more towards the end of the season. That could be a segment on the show. Here we go then. So, current and former player of your club. So, it'll be Liverpool for me, Arsenal for Elliot. Not Lincoln, as I'm just repping the Lincoln top there. Current and former player of your club you would love to interview. I'm sure there's so many.
Former player?
Yes, former and current.
Former, got to be Henry.
Yeah.
Present, it's got to be Saka, isn't it?
Not Odegaard.
No, I was mixing between them two, but for me, I think it's got to be Saka.
Fair enough. I'd say for former, gotta go Stevie G, aren't you?
Yeah.
Gotta go Stevie G. Current, I think Robertson would be a pretty interesting interview. Like that'd be quite a funny interview, I'd say. But no, I'm gonna say Salah. Just his contribution to Liverpool has been outstanding the last season. But I think Robbo would just be a really interesting interview. Like we just sit there, and also two left backs talking. I'll get some tips. And then last question here, very different one. Favorite sport apart from football?
It's got to be basketball, I reckon, for me.
Yeah. I watched a bit of basketball. I got told off because I was speaking to somebody on the phone and I was just glancing over to my computer and I'm like, what are you watching? So I was just watching the basketball. I went, oh, thank you very much for not giving me your full attention. I was like, oh, yeah. It's basketball, isn't it? It's America. It's great. No, that was quite good. I think it was the Hornets. I think they win. That was really good. So, just a little bit fun and interesting thing. We'll obviously get into a lot more of them, but we are going to get up to the upcoming fixtures. As you can see there, thank you very much to Sky Sports for providing us with this graphic. Starting off then with Friday, also you can get the bets as well. So anybody that wants to do the betting on Sky Bets, Elliot is somebody who likes to say he's going to do a bet and then doesn't. So it's like I might put a bet on this game, and it was a very interesting thing. So as you can see, their bets on Sky Bets, and bets are correct at the time of recording. And obviously live streaming here, so don't take these bets. But if you want to, they're on the screen there for you. But starting off then with Friday, Newcastle versus Brighton. What are your score predictions for that one?
I'm going to go 2-2. I think Brighton after that game, because they look good against Arsenal. And obviously Newcastle also a top team as well, obviously. But I reckon it'll be 2-2.
I'm going to say 2-1 Newcastle. I'm talking about Newcastle. The early kickoff sees Tottenham against Brentford. I think Brentford will win that. I think I'm going to say 1-0 Brentford.
Yeah. I'm going to say 1-0.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. Bournemouth versus Manchester United.
3-1 United.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 United. They like the 2-0s, Man U.
They
Fulham versus Crystal Palace.
2-1 Palace.
Yeah, I'd say 2-0. I'd say 2-0 Palace. Liverpool versus Aston Villa.
7-2 Aston Villa. Just had to get it in
8-2, 8-2 Liverpool. Wolves versus Everton.
there. 0-0.
Really? Oh, yeah, that actually does make sense. I'm going to say 1-0 Wolves. 1-0 Wolves.
I had to chuck that 7-2 in there.
Yeah, and I had to chuck that 8-2 in there. That's never happened before. Forest versus Arsenal. I'm going to say 6-0 Forest.
I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal.
We're just taking a look at this segment. Why we need to just start doing this segment.
I mean,
But West Ham versus Leeds. I'm going to say 10-0 Leeds.
I've got to go. I'm going to say 1-0 West Ham.
Oh God, but Gary's loving you at the moment. Brighton and Southampton. I'm going to say Brighton and Southampton on Sunday. Oh no, I think this game's on Wednesday. I think Wednesday or Thursday. I think. So apologies, guys. That was my fault. That was my fault for not checking the sources. No, Thursday will be the Newcastle Brighton game. Then they play Southampton. So apologies. So Brighton and Southampton, 2-0 Brighton.
I'm going to say 3-0 Brighton.
And then the big one: if Man United win this, Man City win this, they win the league. Chelsea are not going to. Have always been their bit of bogey team, I think. So it's interesting how Chelsea have always seemed to play. I'm going to say, yeah, I think they're going to do it. Sorry, Elliot. I'm going to say 2-0 City.
I'm saying 4-0 City.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. And then on Monday night, Newcastle versus Leicester. Now we know that Newcastle are not going to be playing Friday and Monday. They're going to be playing Thursday and Monday.
2-0 Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1. I'll give Leicester a goal. And unfortunately, we've not got the graphic up here because I've just been told that we've obviously got the championship playoffs, the semi-finals tonight. So we will get into that. So thank you very much to Elliot for reminding me for that one. The championship semi-final, Luton versus Sunderland. Sunderland are 2-1 on aggregate. Elliot, I'm going to go to you for all of these results. So what are you saying?
I mean, I watched the first leg and obviously Luton went 1-0 up and then Sunderland brought it back to 2-1. But I've got a mate who supports Luton and apparently they're very good at home.
Right.
I think they're still favourites. I'm going to say 3-1 Luton.
3-1 Luton, which makes it 4-3 on aggregate.
Yeah.
So fair enough. And then tomorrow, Middlesbrough play Coventry. That was a 0-0 draw. So on aggregate, so still all to play for in that one. What are you saying?
I mean, even though the last game was 0-0, you still backed Middlesbrough to score a few goals with the form that Akpom's on. Because have you seen how many goals Akpom's on this year?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
He's on 28 just in the league.
Mental.
I'm going to say 2-0 Middlesbrough. Because I think Middlesbrough at home, are they not? Yeah, Middlesbrough at home. So I'm going to say 2-0 Middlesbrough.
Fair enough. So let's move in then to the final segment of the show. We have more bracket fights. We love our bracket fights over here on the show. It's always a very entertaining one. Last week, you guys did Premier League all-time midfielders. Still annoyed with you both that you didn't put Gerrard as the all-time midfielder. Still very annoyed with you both. But no, I'm joking. De Bruyne deserves it. By the way, can I just say one thing as well? We've done 2 of these in the 5 episodes.
Yeah.
2 or Well, we've done defenders. No, we've done three. We've done three. We've done defenders, midfielders, and strikers. And we've not done goalkeepers yet. We will probably do that on a later show. But if you've had a look at if you have a look at previous, all three of them have
Man City.
been Manchester City players: Haaland, De Bruyne, and Diaz. However, this segment will not involve any Man City players because it will focus on players outside of the top six. So these are all players that are currently do not play for the traditional top six sides. So the traditional top six sides are both Manchester clubs: Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal, and Liverpool. So all of these players do not play outside of the traditional top six. So hence why there are Newcastle players in this, not and there should be Chelsea players in this. But let's get in then. Bracket fight is a very small bracket this time. We've obviously got the matchup mode, and both of these here from West Ham, Gary's teams, Antonio and Skamaka. Now, I don't like Antonio. I don't rate him. I have many arguments with Gary about this, but I do think he wins this one, unfortunately. And like Gary said last week, we will flip a coin if I can find a coin in the studio I have here. So if not, we'll have to see. But I'm sure this will be an easy one. So I'm going to say Antonio.
Yeah, obviously Scamacca is a big money move from Italy, but it just hasn't worked out for him this year. So it's got to be Antonio.
Yep, there we go. I'm sure Antonio will get chucked out in the later rounds. Rodrigo versus Mitrovic. Now, I think Rodrigo's good, but if we're judging it on this season, Mitrovic has played fantastically well, even though he has just come back from his suspension. So I'm going to say Mitrovic because I do think he is that good.
Yeah, I'd say Mitrovic just because the amount of goals he scores for them.
Aronson versus Jared Bowen. Now, I like Aronson. I do think he's a decent player, but Bowen is brilliant. Like, I do like Bowen. I think he's one of my favorite West Ham players. Like, I do rate him more than Antonio, to be honest.
Yeah, it's got to be Bowen for me.
Oh, Jared. He looks like a Jared. Is that? It's.
Come on, Ken, you can do it.
Is that Caicedo?
That is Caicedo.
Caicedo versus, is that Kamara?
That is.
Very good. 2 for 2. 2 for 2.
I thought he was going to do a Gary then.
What's that?
I thought he was going to do a Gary.
Oh, keeps asking. As you guys, if you don't mind the ad that's popping up, do you mind closing that? Maybe not allowed on that on. Caicedo, easily, 100%.
Yeah, it's got to be.
We might have lost the matchup mode. Yeah, we got it back now. Yeah, Caicedo, easily. Yeah. This one's easy. Almiron versus Lingard, aka Ratface. No, I'm joking. I like Lingard. I do like Lingard. Almiron's brilliant though. Like for the longest time, I didn't think he was like a headless chicken, just running around the pitch. He did just, but I think Eddie Howe's really controlled him. I'd say Almiron. You could leave
This
the
season. He's been very good.
By the way, can I just confirm that this is on? Gary's computer. He's controlling this. I like the fact that there was a pink mouse that came up on eBay as well. I'm sure he was going to buy that very soon. So yeah, I'd say Almiron.
Yeah.
This is a tough one because if you judge it on this season, it's easily Zaha. But if you judge it on like the whole career, like I love Jamie Vardy, but it's so hard. Elliot, go on, then you make the decision for this one.
I mean, like you said, going off this season, Zaha. But yeah.
We are judging it by this season because if we weren't judging it by this season, you'd probably say Lingard over Almiron. So I'd say Zaha, unfortunately. Sorry, Jamie. Sorry, mate. Like, in the summer, I'll party with you anytime, mate. Go on. Are you saying that noise didn't? That noise gave you all the answers. Which one are you saying? I'm saying Pope.
I don't know. God, I'll give you Pope.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to.
I really don't know.
He's a great keeper. Yeah, we'll say Nick Pope. The free kick specialist versus the long shot specialist. If you take free kicks away from Ward-Prowse, I'm not too sure whether he's the best player. I think Neves is
I'd have to say Neves.
Yeah, Neves is a more complete player as a midfielder. I'd say, yeah. Judge it by this season as well. Mitrovic, let's get this out. Let's get this out of the way. Let's just get this out of the way. Gary, you're not even arguing with this one, mate. It's Mitrovic. Thank you very much. Can we just get rid of all West Ham players and go Casado there?
Yeah.
Gary's violently swearing at us right now. Like,
you should go his head pop in a minute.
His head's gonna pop up. Like, what is it gonna be like? Probably above me. I might end up in the middle. Alvaro versus Zaha. Again, we're judging it on this season.
Almiron.
Yeah, Almiron. He's still not popped up. I can't believe he's still not popped up yet. There's no West Ham. Is there any West Ham players potentially? Oh, there is. I've just seen one out the corner of my eye. It's hard going from a goalkeeper to a midfielder.
Yeah.
Neves, I think.
I'd have to say Neves.
Yeah, I'm judging it. Yeah, he's been a saviour for Wolves many times. Oh, Mitrovic versus Casado.
Casado, easy.
Yeah. All right, you gave me Pope, so I'll give you this one.
I'm going to tell you now, Casado is going to be my winner for the whole thing.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Well done. So this is going to be a spoiler, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to click off now, I'm sure...
Actually, no.
Okay, all right. Hold off just a minute. Let's get on to the rest of the bracket. Almiron versus Neves. Almiron for me.
Yeah. I didn't realise there's a second side.
Eligible to get through this as quickly as possible. Yeah, Casado, yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
So Casado wins that half of it. But now we go on to Callum Wilson versus Tony. Now, I like both of these players. I do think they should have a bit of a run in on the England squad, but I do think Wilson has come on leaps and bounds this season, and obviously with Isak. I think Tony's been great, but I'd say Wilson just.
I'd go with Tony.
Did you?
Yeah,
I was a bit in two minds. Tony's fine. I won't lose any sleep over that. The Battle of the Leicesters. We've spoken about Leicester a lot on this show today. Maddison versus Tielemans. I think, judging by the season, I think Maddison's had a better season. He had a bit of a good run.
Yeah.
Still waiting on Gary's face. Seriously, we're still waiting on Gary. I think I'll know when he's going to pop up. I think I'll know. So yeah, I'll say Maddison.
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon versus Trossard. Trossard's got a very different shirt on, so this must have been done before. But I don't rate Anthony Gordon one bit, so I'd say Trossard. He still qualifies.
Exactly the same.
He still qualifies.
Exactly the same.
Ooh. This is a big one. This might be the hardest matchup we've had so far.
Still an easy one, though.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Who are you saying?
I'll say Guimaraes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Eze's man, he's picked up over the last few months though. But yeah, in the season as a whole, yeah, let's go on then. Say Bruno. Isak, get Welbeck off, honestly.
Yeah.
Easy one for me. When he played against Liverpool, his first game, I thought he's a good player. I like how he moved the cursor over to Paqueta, by the way. Did people notice that? You might have to skip back and just notice the cursor just drifted towards Paqueta. Yeah, I don't think any Everton players really should get in this squad, to be honest.
I think it's got to be Paqueta in it.
Yeah. Oh my God. See, we could have changed our minds there. Bloody hell. Then, okay, Cat Kicker versus... Who's that?
Botman.
All right. Wow. He's had his haircut, hasn't he? Yeah,
he looks like the living Ipswich manager in that.
he's shaping up well. He's it looks very good. Versus Cat Kicker. Let's get Botman over there. I
Yeah,
want to get rid of as many like West Ham players as possible just to see Gary's red face come on.
Kieran, after this live, I'll show you a picture of the Ipswich manager, and you'll see what I'm.
Nice. Maddison versus Trossard. I don't think we can bring any further Leicester players in. I think Trossard's a good season. The big move, yeah, I'd say Trossard. Oh, Battle of the Newcastle. I think Bruno, he contributes more than Isak for the whole team, and obviously Wilson shared the goals as well with him. Do we have to go on? Look at the stupid
sorry, Botman. It's Botman.
It's Botman, isn't it? It's Botman.
Gary, don't want to press it.
You can go, Botman. Hurry up. Thank you. Tony just. Oh, maybe there was a. Tony just moved about 2 other places. Maybe there was just a lack of players on the other side. Honestly, Tony. I think Tony. Yeah. I thought you were going to argue with me that one.
No.
He's still not popped up even though no more West Ham players are involved in this. Guimaraes versus Botman. Guimaraes.
Yeah, it's got to be Guimaraes, isn't it? One of the best players this season.
And then I think further than that.
Guimaraes again.
Now, this is the final.
This is the big one.
This is the final.
Go on, Kieran. I'll let you have first pick.
I'm judging this on obviously how good they are in contribution to the team. I think if you take away Guimaraes in that, you've still got Joelinton, you've still got Wilson, you've still got Isak, Trippier, Botman, players that have been pure quality this season and has massively helped Newcastle. However, he has had so much contribution to this squad. Caicedo, on the other hand, I think Brighton have been up and down.
Yeah.
So I would say Guimaraes, because I think Caicedo's played well, but I think you look at the stats without Guimaraes in, a young player who's just new to the Premier League, that is incredible. I'm going to take Bruno for me.
I mean,
and only just as well.
It was always going to come down to these two, wasn't it?
It was.
2 of the best midfielders in the league. I think both of them are quality players. But I would just say Guimaraes.
Wow. Yeah, no. So that is it. So the best Premier League players outside of the traditional top 6. We've finally got a different player. Other than a Manchester City player. Man City players couldn't even qualify for this. I'm sure they would have got it if they were. Bruno Guimaraes, he's still not added up, and I'm so pleased he's not showing his face. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the Footy Fan Zone for this week. Many thanks to this main man right here, Elliot, for joining me on the show. Massive thanks for you guys for watching, whether you watched it live or whether you're going to watch it after the fact. Thank you very much for all the contribution. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the live watch-alongs and live weekly shows that we do over here on the channel. Massive thanks to Gary for engineering the show as well. We hope to see him and his lovely face next week on the show. But for now, this is from the Footy Fan Zone saying, have a good week and enjoy the footy. See you in a bit. This is a part of the show where we've just got to just casually talking as it's still live, and all the credits will roll. If Gary wants to end the stream, he can do now because it's still going now.
Special video at the end of the credits.
Yeah.